What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the End Goal Podcast, the show where I like to have meaningful conversations with people about topics that I find interesting and or educative. Today's guest is Canvas. He's been on the podcast plenty of times before, but today is a little bit different, and today's a little bit fun. So, recently, I just finished reading The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and I wanted to read this because I wanted to talk to Canvas. And Canvas has read this book, and we've talked about it in the past, and I haven't read it. I decided not to read it. But I ended up reading the book so I could talk with him about the book to you guys. Because when it comes to the purpose of life, I feel like Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist is probably top 5 books that people ever say that they like to read or recommend to people. So I was like, might as well read it. And this will be essentially all of our thoughts about the book, about life's purpose, and other things mixed in. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the conversation and share it with somebody who you think might enjoy.
Boom, y'all. Welcome to the Intro RS podcast. Here we're talking about the book Alchemist. It's your boy, the hostess with the mostest. It's your boy, RS with the big dick. Let's get this show on the road.
I don't know how to follow that up. What do I say to that? What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the End Goal Podcast. You know, the show where I like to do meaningful conversations with people about topics that I find. You mess up my entire flow. There's a reason why I pre-recorded something before this. So all they're going to see now is the good take, and then they're going to see this. And we're going to leave all this in.
That's perfectly fine.
Because we are no edit boys around here. This is a no edit podcast.
So one take wonder.
One take wonder. That's how it goes. Guys, we're here to talk about The Alchemist. And to give you guys a little bit of recap or not recap, but to catch you guys up, I've never read The Alchemist, but Canvas had a couple of years ago, I think, right?
A couple years ago, yes.
And you had suggested that I read it. I think other people have suggested that I read it, and I just never did because I thought that, you know, everybody talks about the story, like the overall effect, or like the overall story of The Alchemist is, you know, your journey brings you back to where you started, almost that kind of stuff, right? And
Correct.
I thought, okay, cool, I know how the story goes, so I don't really need to read it. Yeah, I was wrong. I will admit I was wrong. I was very incorrect. And when I read the book, 3 hours 50 highlights later, and I was like, Canvas, we need to talk about this. I specifically read it though because I wanted to talk to Canvas on the podcast, but I wanted a reason to talk to Canvas on the podcast, because otherwise we'll just start talking about whatever.
It happens all the time.
So I wanted us to have like a central topic focus here. Otherwise, both of us would just get off tangent, like kind of how this started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Canvas, what did you think about The Alchemist first and foremost?
I guess I'll start with how I obtained the book, because I feel like everyone loves doing that. This is actually when I was teaching for Fenton's, and I had a couple students that would come dedicatedly. It was Julia Bakud, Anita, and Dig at the time, and we had all went through like this boot camp training situation, and it was like a summer, I think, and then after that they all had to go to college, so they were all leaving, and Anita gifted me the book The Alchemist, and then I was like, I don't read, I think I'll read now. And so I read the book. It was a pretty good book. Fortunately, it's a short read, as you said. It took you what, 3 hours? Probably took me 3 days, but
It's 3 days is better than a month.
Correct. But no, yeah, it was a really good read, actually. I liked it.
I do want to tell people who are listening, we are talking about The Alchemist, and we are going to pull up specific text from the book to talk through, essentially like our thoughts on what the message of what the text is showing. So if you haven't read The Alchemist, but you want to read it, I would highly advise picking it up, reading it, and then coming back to this video and listening along. But if you don't want to really read it, or you don't mind us going through the text and just learning our thoughts, please continue listening and everything like that too. Just wanted to give you guys like a little spoiler warning, because I thought it would be fun, instead of just talking about The Alchemist, let's just pull it up. Like, let's just pull up The Alchemist and really go through things, because I realized that, like, I think Bro wrote it as like a self-improvement book masquerading as like a fiction fantasy book. because
Yeah,
he had these like banger one-liners, and I'm like, I know you like workshop that in the lab like 4 days or something like that.
it is literally what's the Salt Bay guy, and he's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
all throughout the book, and it's not like a incredible story. It's not like anything like a Lord of the Rings adventure. Any well, kind of, so not really,
It's not like an
not
epic.
not
Yeah.
not epic, but just in the sense of like it was very thought provoking, you know,
Hmm.
and I liked it. It was pretty
Yeah,
good.
and I think it was also written very well. This was it was obviously like translated from its original language, um,
I saw that.
and but I think the translation did it justice. Um, and do you recall the story of how this book got popular?
I didn't. I don't know.
So at the beginning of the book, I'll actually pull it up so I don't miss the details. But essentially, the author Paulo Coelho wrote this book like whenever he wrote it, and it didn't take off. He had a publisher, they were trying to get it to take off, it just didn't take off, and what ended up happening was he essentially got dropped by his publisher, but he still wanted to release the book. He was like, I feel like this is the story that I wanna tell. This story is like my soul on pages." And what ended up happening was eventually, how do you put it? Um, an American visiting Brazil picked up a copy of The Alchemist in a local bookstore. He wanted to translate the book and help me find a publisher in the United States. And so HarperCollins, a very popular publisher now, agreed to bring it to an American audience, etc. But it still took some time to sell, slowly finding its audience in Brazil. And then one day, Bill Clinton was photographed leaving the White House with a copy. Madonna raved the book about it to the Vanity Fair, and then people from different walks of life, like Will Smith and Rush Limbaugh, and people were like talking about The Alchemist, and then it really picked up steam.
Oh wow.
So, this wasn't like an overnight success in any form or fashion, like the books of today. This was like years of I released a book, and I just had to wait for maybe like maybe the book was before its time, and when it was needed, it was found.
I think I mean, the book was given to a gift to me, and so I didn't know it had like a almost like a cult following until after I read it.
Mhm.
And so I was like, every time I get done reading something or I watch something, like I kind of go on Reddit just to see what everybody else's thoughts were. And I didn't even know it had this huge following of some sort. So I was like, oh damn, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I read something popular.
part of a cult.
But I didn't even know Will Smith and Madonna or even Bill Clinton took it upon
Yeah.
themselves to read it too. That's really cool.
Well, I also don't usually read this was in the foreword of the book, not even the actual book. It was in the foreword, which is like a little excerpt at the beginning, which is like the author's message to the reader. And so I read that. I usually don't, but I was like, it's a short book. I might as well just read it. And I was actually really glad that I did. I think one thing I try to do more often is read either the forewords or the acknowledgments at the end, because that's when like the author is telling you something. Like it's like a letter to the reader from the author. Sometimes they'll talk about their history, how the book came about, or they'll just start thanking a lot of people. And I'm like, I don't care about all these people. Continue.
Yeah,
Pass.
yeah, yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot. And without further ado, you want to just get into this text?
Sure. I'm with it. I'm so with it.
Let's do it. So the first piece of text, which these are all out of order because when I ended up uploading them into Canva to make this slideshow, it did not save my 1 through 39 ordering, and I was too lazy to go back into my folder and then do 1, 2, like one by one. So this is the order of Canva, but I think it's fine because we're trying to isolate the text, not necessarily do it in the context of the story in chronological order. But I really like this one. This is also earlier on in the book. Um, Hopefully people can see it on screen, but I will read out the text as much as I can to anybody who's just listening and who's not a video watcher. The text says, "If I become a monster today and I decide to kill them being his flock of sheep, one by one they would become aware only after most of the flock had been slaughtered," thought the boy. "They trust me and they've forgotten how to rely on their own instincts because I led them to nourishment." The boy was surprised at his thoughts.
You know what I like about this one?
Yeah,
It's the very end where it says the boy was surprised at his thoughts.
exactly.
It's just a very like present in the moment kind of situation where he's like, oh shit, I can't believe I actually thought about that.
Yeah. It's like the first intrusive thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That really is how that's exactly what it screamed to me was like, "Oh, you had your first intrusive thought." a thought that you know you would not act upon, and you were surprised that you even had it. Um, and I find it interesting the way he applied it. He was like the worst, like it was really just like a what do you say, like an hypothetical in his head. If I were a
Mm.
monster, what would I do in this situation? Well, I'd get rid of my entire flock in a heinous, violent manner. And I have the power to do that because I'm their owner and they're unaware beasts.
You know, I'm reading a little bit of the text beforehand, and
Mhm,
it just gives a little pretext to the thought that is highlighted. But it's just interesting to me because him thinking that is just kind of expounding more than just I guess what is just regular, what is layman, it's
mhm.
him kind of giving more of an existential thought. And I'm sure back in the day, there's no TikTok, there's no social media, there's no nothing. So I'm sure all these intrusive thoughts probably are happening quite often. Or at least in my head I would think so. But yeah, this one's a good one.
This one's a good one. Let's move on to the next one. Canvas, you wanna read this one out for me?
Sure. It's the simple things in life that are the most extraordinary. Only wise men are able to understand them.
So the context here is he's getting a palm reading done from a gypsy, and he's asking her to interpret his dream that he's having. And because he doesn't agree with her interpretation, he's like, "You're false," or "You're not telling me the truth," or "You're like inefficient, inept. You're just bad at what you do," essentially. And she's saying, like, "I told you that me interpreting your dream was difficult. I'm not wise. I can only read palms," and things like that, right? But I like this because I was just thinking about earlier, like yesterday, that we do a lot of things in our day to day that we think are big and grand, and we try and focus on the big and grand things. And I was recently, my wife and I bought like a set of flowers, like Kaya lilies or lilacs or whatever, and they weren't bloomed. So we put them in some water, and over the next like 3 days, we saw each bud blooming gradually in the sunlight and the water. And I was like,
Hmm.
that's so cool. It's a very simple, small thing. Like, that's so cool. Just like seeing flowers actually blooming when they're exposed to sunlight and water. We have plants, and you see the plants like growing a leaf and that leaf maturing in like real time. It's like those small things that I've really begun to enjoy.
Hmm. It's I'm 30 now, so as I have
Old
aged,
head.
I know I don't. My knees hurting already. No, but as I feel like as I've aged in life, I I took granted a lot of things, or I took for granted a lot of things, and I feel like it's a cliche. It's like, oh, the simple things are in life are the most best things, but the part where it says only wise men are able to understand them, that wisdom I feel like only comes from like having experienced like maybe all the turmoil or maybe all the emotional thoughts or just maybe stressing about things that were were simple and you just overstress about it, and you look back in hindsight and really it could really kick in on a random Sunday where you're just chilling. You maybe have your favorite drink, you got your favorite music in the background, and you feel peace at heart and you feel bliss, and it's something like that where it kind of puts into perspective the simple things in life are truly the best. And I
Yeah.
think it's that peace of mind, and I think you only get that wisdom after having gone through quite a bit yourself, and everyone comes into terms with it themselves, but it's I like this one a lot. I want you to know also I went through like maybe like 5 of your screenshots, and I was like, okay, I trust our shit screenshots.
I thank you. I appreciate that because you went. There's 38 in the thanks,
Yeah.
so we're
So
gonna
if
go
one,
through as many as we can.
it's like you got the next one is just the word and I was like, oh,
It's
oh, oh,
just a
great.
letter.
I
It's
love it.
it's like the banana like the that artwork of like the banana taped on the wall that
Oh
sold for like
yeah.
millions. It's just like a um I was gonna ask you, are there any simple things in your life that you've become to appreciate more? now that you've gained some experience in time?
I want to say everything, but I know that's such a generalized thing. I don't really even know where to start, but like, for instance, having a reliable car, or because I've been dealing with a lot of car issues, having a reliable car, having food on the table, having a apartment with AC, or even just like your pets and loved ones around you. I used to think, for those of you who don't know, I used to like dance quite often, and I would like chase competitions and chase like these really grandiose events. And not that it was like not great, but after traveling, going to a different state, coming back from a competition, it's really that following Sunday or weekend or just that day off where you have just a whole day to veg out. And in that process of vegging out, it really is everything, all the little small details embedded into the day that makes it for me. Like whether it's like the cup of juice with ice in it, and and the cup is insulated, like
Mhm.
it's I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
literally every simple thing. Or having your favorite foods around you, or having your favorite people, or just laughing. I just think that takes the cake. So, as I just to answer your question, um, I don't know. I usually revolving around comfort or just peace of mind. I feel like are the things I've been uh, more highlighted in my life, and typically it's really a bunch of small things. It's not anything like crazy. But if someone
Right.
were to give me $2 million, that'd be really great too.
Would
I
love
feel like
that.
that'll be also extraordinary,
Would
and
love that.
and I feel like I'll be wise enough to understand the gravity of $2 million.
And
So
we would not blow it in a week. Oh,
hopefully not.
who was it? There was a we're getting off at a tangent, but I want to tell the story. It was either a football player or a soccer player or a basketball player who said, "I blew through $1.8 million in a week, um, because I ended up buying a better place for myself. But then I ended up buying a car for myself. And then I was like, if I have a car, my mom should have a car. I bought a car for myself. And then I bought a place for my grandma to stay and all that stuff. And he was like, I blew like a 1.8 million in 2 weeks. I made it back or I blew 1.8 million in 1 week. I made it back in 2 weeks, but dot, 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 dot. And I just find it so interesting how, like, he didn't necessarily blow the money on himself. He blew it on also, like, wanting to take care of family, but it is very easy to go through money not realizing, oh, I just blew through this gargantuan amount of money. So,
I always think like maybe life didn't make me a billionaire because life probably figured I'd give it all away. Just cause
mm,
just cause I wouldn't even know what to do. Like you really think about a billion. Well, this is a tangent. I know we're getting off
let's
record
do
here,
it. Let's
but
do it.
what did they say? They just released that Elon Musk was like worth
He's
trillion, like a
Yeah,
trillion. Like bro,
he is a first trillionaire.
a first trillionaire. Do we know how much money that is, dog?
I saw it put this way. From the time before the SpaceX IPO launched to when it launched on Friday, he gained the equivalent of Warren Buffett's net worth in, like, his own net worth. He gained a Warren
God,
Buffett's net worth
that's insane.
increase.
That's insane.
So yeah, no, we can't, like, we it's generally hard to fathom for people like us, like, how much that is. Um and I try not to dwell on it because I feel like if I dwell on it, I'll, like, ruminate myself into, like, a existential crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
try not to focus on it. But sometimes I think about, like, I could really use that. In some way, form, or fashion, I could really use that. But I know
Yeah.
all of us could. All of us could use some portion of that too.
Yeah. And to kind of tie it back into this book, The Alchemist, I think like uh this spoiler, we already said it, but the main character kind of has to go through a journey to understand the extraordinary things in this life. And I think
Mhm.
that's kind of what we have to go through as well.
Mhm.
Because imagine if I just was born off rip $1 trillion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't understand the luxuries that I have,
Mhm.
obviously. So
Yeah.
All that to say, this is a great quote right here.
This is a great one. Let's go to the next one. I'll read this one out. Uh, it's the possibility of having a dream come true that makes life interesting. And according to Kindle, 63,996 other people who read this ebook highlighted it, this section, because it gives you like a dotted line with like a bunch of people who also highlight it.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I agree. I think like there's a part later on where he meets a merchant who says, "I've always dreamt of going to Mecca because that is what people who follow the Islam faith do. It's part of their like instructions is at some point make the journey to Mecca."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember the merchant. Yep.
And the merchant said, "All I have is the dream. If I do the dream and I complete the dream, what else do I have to live for or do or think about or motivate myself with?" And I feel like that's a bit of a trap also, because like it's really painful to only have dreams and never do anything about them. And it's very easy just to dream and not do anything. It's like, oh, I have this dream and I'm gonna keep it as a dream. I feel like it can be a very big trap for some people.
With the merchant, with him saying that, I almost, I mean, it's a great just observation point because it's like this is the one thing that's keeping me moving. You know, it's the one thing that's got me motivated. But it's weird because it's like you're motivated, but you're never gonna take action to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think if we were to take that merchant's idea and expound on it with this quote, it's a possibility of having a dream that comes true that makes life interesting. There's no there's no limit to the dream. You can achieve that dream and then come back and have another dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then that also makes life even more interesting because
Yeah.
in my experience of life, I feel like I've had dreams
Yeah.
and I feel like I've achieved quite a bit of them, but the process of getting more dreams doesn't stop. I think that's where you have to kind of like curate yourself and curate what you're trying to chase, and keep the vision alive of some point. It's like
Yeah.
if my goal was to get $1 million, okay, cool. And then obviously there's probably like a lag period where I don't know what to do with it, but then you keep on thinking the why, and at some point you probably gonna find another dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like this one. I like it as a reminder of like it's okay to dream, because I think about dreams as traps, but then I feel like it's okay to dream, because some dreams you'll act on and some dreams will just stay dreams, and both are good. Both are okay. Two things can be true at the same time, as my therapist says. Next quote, Canvas.
Oh, but when he thought to complain about the burden of his weight, he remembered that because he had the jacket, he had withstood the cold of the dawn.
Yeah, and this one helps with the context of the sentence right before it, which I didn't highlight on accident, which is he was walking through a very hot space, and so he also has a jacket though, so he had to carry the jacket. But he was like, this heat lasted until nightfall, and all that time he had to carry his jacket in his hand. So he was hot and he had to carry a jacket. But then he was like, I shouldn't complain about carrying the jacket. The jacket keeps me warm when it's cold. So, and the jacket is his pillow underneath his head when he sleeps and things like that, right? So it's like the things that we see as burdens sometimes can also be those that help protect and aid us in other times of potential strife that we just don't see because we have them already.
Yeah. I like this one because it's just very human. Like he just wants to complain about the shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then realistically he knows that if he didn't have that jacket, he'd probably be in even deeper shit.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I like this one because it just reminds me how human the checks and balances of our brain works. Because
That's
there's
so true.
a lot of times I want to complain about something. Like for instance, I just told you about the car issue, but had I not have a car, I'm sure that'd be an even worse situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like
yeah,
this one.
yeah, it was good.
This is a long piece of text, but I think really the highlighted part is the best part about this. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, this boy a year ago goes to this one city as he's a traveling shepherd, and so he goes to cities and sells the wool off his sheep and things like that. So last year, in the time of the book, he went to a merchant, and while the merchant was busy with other people, he was just sitting in his shop, and he encountered the merchant's daughter, who kept him entertained, talked to him, and everything like that. And he, what we know now, had a fat infatuation. He had a crush on the merchant's daughter, and so the entire beginning of the book is, in a few days I'll get to go back to that city and see her. And so he fantasizes all these things about like them meeting and what will he say and how is he gonna do it. Basically, like any dude who meets it, who's going on, who's planning a date for that one girl who he hasn't even asked out yet, he doesn't even know who's interested in him.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so he says he was excited and at the same time uneasy. Maybe the girl had already forgotten him. Lots of shepherds passed through selling their wool. It doesn't matter, he said to his sheep. I know other girls in other places, other bitches everywhere. I can swipe right and left. But in his heart, he knew that it did matter. And he knew that shepherds, like seamen and traveling salesmen, always found a town where there was someone who could make them forget the joys of carefree wandering. Um, and I just like this idea of like the thought exercise of you really you really you really saw one person one time and she been on your mind for an entire year.
Yep.
And that's just
Yep.
and that's sometimes how men are.
That's how it goes. I mean, like, you could probably apply this to any concept, but it's everyone, depending on how you show up that day, you can deliver a one of one experience. And just in this case scenario, he came through and he was able to exchange a moment that like actually impacted him, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, yes, like even he's saying to his sheep, he's venting his sheep. He says, man, I know other girls in other places, but no one affected him like how this one did.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was just very like transparent, man. I like this one. Because I mean, I feel like you ever experience a crush, you ever experience a relationship, you know what this is like. You know what it's like to crush on somebody. You know what it's like to have feelings for someone,
Mm-hmm.
and then wanting to come back and foster it. Because at the end it says, there was someone who can make them forget the joys of carefree wandering. So Mans is obviously focused on himself. He's doing him. But this woman was so important. He's like, man, I might settle down.
I might. She might
I,
make a man out of me. she
I
she
might
she
just
might
put
tie
my
me down.
roots right here. I might
Yep.
just settle down right here. Fuck these sheep. Fuck everything else. I'm gonna settle down right here.
Oh man.
So it's good. It's good that my boy right here in the Alchemist is experiencing his heart throbs.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling at your emotional strings is very important.
I agree. I
And I
agree.
think this kind of goes along once again. You'll see it in the book quite a lot, but it's just a lot of like transparent, vulnerable thoughts. Like it's like, and I think the theme is to just be very present. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to have these thoughts if you're just like if your brain is somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of what happened in the book was like you see his thoughts happen live,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, do I want to see his thoughts happen live? Does it matter to me? Like everybody has these, and the whole goal is like, don't close off from yourself.
Right.
You have these same thoughts and feelings live, and but you're not aware of them. You may not be aware of them. How do you become aware of them? You read The Alchemist. So next quote.
The boy told himself that on the way towards realizing his own personal legend, he had learned all he needed to know and had experienced everything he might have dreamed of.
This might be one of the last quotes of the book, and we
I
haven't
was
even
like,
talked about the personal legend yet.
I
So
know. I was about to say, we done skipped. But no, I mean, look, but see, this, okay, once again, this touched on what I was just saying, like a couple of quotes back, is that he had to go through his journey.
Mhm.
You know, he had to learn everything he needed to know and able to experience it the way he dreamt of. So I think this kind of is touching on the whole theme of like it's a journey, not the destination situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. this one really does hammer that down. And the concept of life's purpose is translated in this book as personal legend. Like, what is my life's purpose? What is my personal legend? And I was talking with a different friend, a couple of podcasts ago, James, and we were talking about purpose of life. And he was like, "You'll never really find your purpose of life. It's ever shifting. You'll think you found it, and then 30 minutes later, 30 days later, it might be a completely different purpose. It's ever shifting, so you might never actually catch it. But in pursuit of that, you will figure out so many different things about yourself, about people around you, about the world around you, as long as you are in pursuit of that. You're not doing things that aren't in pursuit of your or what you perceive to be your own life's purpose, or what this book calls your personal legend. And at the end, I would like for us to talk about what we think our personal legends are, but we're gonna keep that idea for the end.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Next quote. Um, this one is something that happened towards the end of the book as well. Um, and this is actually the last scene before the boy realizes his personal legend and or realizes his dream and his treasure. And what I like about this quote is essentially this kid got beat up by people, and those he was digging in some sand, and some people came and thought, oh, he's digging up treasure. Let's beat him up and get him to like reveal to us where he's like what he's like digging up. And the boy's like, I'm trying to find my treasure. And the guy who's beating him up says, 2 years ago, right on this spot, I had a recurrent dream too. I dreamt that I should travel to the field of Spain and look for a ruined church where shepherds and their sheep slept. In my dream, there was a sycamore growing out of the ruins of the sacristy, and I was told that if I dug at its roots of the sycamore, I would find a hidden treasure. But I'm not so stupid as to cross an entire desert just because of a recurrent dream. And so what ends up happening, a couple of texts down, the boy says, uh, they seemed to laugh at him, and he laughed back, his heart bursting with joy, because now he knew where his treasure was. And it ended up being where his story started, in Spain, in the shepherd fields, out of ruins he knows very well, at a sycamore tree he knows very well. He just never knew that the treasure was where he was. And he had to make this entire journey to find that treasure.
Exactly. So I I just thought this was really cool in the book. I mean, it wasn't cool that he got jumped,
Yeah.
but
Sometimes just gotta get jumped.
I don't remember if because if I remember correctly, this is at the part where he is supposed to where he's digging is where the dream or the treasure he's been chasing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he actually ended up finding anything. I think he did, but I
So
think
he
they were
ended up finding it at back there, but
no,
essentially, like where
but
he
this
was,
yeah
it's like his entire goal for this book was, I need to go see the pyramids of Egypt, and there I will find a treasure when I see the pyramids of Egypt. And his heart was telling him, where your tears fall once you see the treasure the pyramids of Egypt, that is where you must dig, or that's where you'll find your treasure. So when his tears fell, he looked at the ground and said, I need to dig here. And he was digging and digging and digging and didn't find anything. And then these two guys jumped him, beat him up. But then one of the guys told him that. And that was the last map that he needed to actually find his treasure.
yeah okay so yeah this is just cool because this is one of those full circle moments
Mm-hmm.
and and technically yes although he did get beat up he did just by him revealing this or the other guy who beat him up it led him to his treasure so it's
Mm-hmm.
cool.
And it's also interesting the antithesis of somebody who ignored their recurrent dream is beating up somebody who is actively following in what their recurrent dream is telling them.
Correct.
So somebody, and it is honestly one of the, it's like a mirror of current life where you'll see a lot of people who are unhappy with their lives and unhappy with who they are or what they do will then lash out at other people who are trying to realize their own dreams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a good one. That was a good one.
They hold on, go back real
Yep.
quick. So at the I just like it because at the end it says they seem to laugh at him and he laughed back. I know it says his heart bursting with joy, but this to me is one of those maniacal animes laugh where the guy's like turned back and he's like
Yeah.
he's just going crazy.
Yeah. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy?
But no, this is dope. I love this one.
The next one, you got this.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna read the whole thing.
Hmm.
He always made new friends. He didn't need to spend all of his time with them. When someone sees the same people every day as had happened with him at the seminary, they wind up becoming a part of that person's life. And then they want the person to change. If someone isn't what others want them to be, the other people become angry. Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own. Cocky.
Clock it. And
I
I think
like.
the biggest message, the biggest impact is the last sentence here, though. But you need that build up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, there was another. I mean, I think I saw this on Instagram or somewhere on social media back when I was on it. Well, it said that in everyone's head they have like a perspective of you. Like everyone has a different perspective of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you can't control that. You only can control your own narrative, and therefore you shouldn't really necessarily worry about everyone else's perspective of you.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of is kind of adjacent to that. I do like at the end, but none about his or her own. Pretty much saying, bitch ass motherfucker, you need to worry about your own goddamn life.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what I said in the previous screenshot. I don't know why my throat's like this. Just bear with me, guys. But it's what I said with the previous screenshot, where it's like people who are unhappy with their own lives or don't want to make their lives better, just actively want to bring people down to their level, right? They don't want to face their own reality. So they're like, maybe I can tear down somebody else's. That'll make me feel better, so that I'm not all alone down here because I'm pulling people down to me. Um, I haven't necessarily had an experience though with friends who have tried to actively change me into something that I don't want to be. Interestingly enough, I know that happens a lot with people, but I've never had it happen to myself.
I feel like I've seen it happen, um, even for you and with our mutual friends, like just like maybe little micro suggestions. Maybe not so dramatic like how this text is showing. Like I don't think anyone's ever become angry with you, but a lot of people sometimes will put their input and maybe want you to follow their input.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because maybe their input is nowhere near in the ballpark of what you're trying to chase, and maybe they don't even have experience. Not saying that the input is bad, but everyone, once again, everyone has like an idea of what they think you should be doing
Mm-hmm.
without even running the race that you're running.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a good
This
one.
this is a good one. This is a good one. That last sentence, everybody, had 77,946 highlights across readers. So crazy. Next one.
Is this on me? I
Yeah,
think so.
this one's me actually.
Oh,
I read
okay.
the
Go
last
ahead.
one. What's the world's greatest lie? The boy asked, completely surprised. And the person he was talking to says, it's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us and our lives become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie.
Heavily agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. This one hits heavy because there's so many different stances on, is fate a thing? If you believe in God, therefore God determines your path in life. Therefore, I'm just on God's path. I don't really have autonomy. I just do what's done for me. Or I don't believe in fate or God. Sorry, I don't believe in faith, but I believe that we don't have autonomy in our lives and things like that, right? I feel like at some point you just have to take control of your life. You have to understand that you are the person who's doing what you're doing. You're not like being controlled by a simulation.
Correct. And there's a quote that I seen. I'm a paraphrase it, but essentially it says something like, "The journey to your success is hidden in your daily routines,"
Mhm.
which would then suggest that it's not just fate, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we're probably gonna come across this other quote in the book, but it's essentially saying in The Alchemist that whatever your personal legend is, if you go towards it and you like run towards it and you really actively are trying to do it, the world will conspire to help you. And so yeah, mate, let's this is just for funsies sake or just for hypothetical reasons. Let's just say there is a factor of fate or some divine being,
Mhm.
and let's just say it affects the journey by 10%.
Mhm.
There still leaves 90% of you to be able to try to control the destination or the destiny of what's going to happen with you. And
Yeah.
so once again, just like some of the other quotes we were talking about, it's dope to have a dream, but if you don't do anything about it, it'll just be a dream. And
Mhm.
if you're cool and content with that, sure. But if you end up festering and you feel unresolved, then you're not gonna achieve it by just sitting around. It's not just fate that's gonna bring you towards there. You're
Mhm.
gonna have to at some point get up and do something about it.
Yeah.
So I like this one, and I'm glad to see that 70,000 people highlighted this one as well. So yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah. I try to highlight things that a lot of people haven't highlighted, but then some of them I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why we highlighted this one. There's a reason why it's 70,661 people highlighted this one.
God
And we
damn.
got to talk about it. And we got to talk about it. We are the 70,662nd person to highlight it.
Yeah.
The next one.
Oh look, this is my gamer name, the old man.
Old
Uh,
man.
the old man looked disappointed. If you start out by promising what you don't even have yet, you'll lose your desire to work towards getting it. This one hits home because the way I've done this a lot of times in my younger life, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely will lose a lot of motivation for sure.
So for people who haven't read The Alchemist, I can give you some context to this, and then we can kind of keep going into it. So essentially, when the boy got that palm reading from the Egyptian, she told him, "You need to follow your dream. You need to go to the Egyptian pyramids, and as my payment for doing this palm reading for you, I want 1/10 of your treasure." He says, "Okay." I don't know what the treasure is, so okay. I don't have the treasure yet, but okay. Then he comes across an old man who is trying to give him more guidance on like how does he get to Egypt? How does he get to see the pyramids? How does he get to his treasure? And the old man says, "I can tell you about your own treasure. You'll have to give me 1/10 of your flock." But the boy says, "What about 1/10 of my treasure?" Because he's thinking back to like, I already promised the Gypsy 1/10. Well, I might as well promise this guy 1/10. And that's why he says, if you start out by promising what you don't have, you'll lose your desire to work towards it. Like, you don't have the treasure. Why are you giving away something you don't already have? Because at some point, if you start giving away 1/10 to everybody, by the 10th person, you've given away all your treasure. Why go search for it? You've already given it away.
This is true.
Yeah. I see this as our time,
Oh yeah,
if you really think
I,
about it.
I can
Like
see that.
a lot of times, like people like will ask, can we do this on this day, or can we do this then, or can we do this then, or do you want to come do this or whatever? And I sometimes think like, I don't know what I'll be doing then, and do I really want to commit my time that I don't know what I'm going to be doing with at that point to that? Sometimes yes, but sometimes no. Can I commit time that I know is going to be used? Can we do it sooner, or can we wait and then schedule it when I do know what that time is looking like, so I do know what's going to happen? I see my time as my treasure, to be honest.
It's the highest commodity, I think.
It really is.
So I agree tenfold with you on this one. There's a cynical part of me that when I read this, it said I'm sure the old man probably was trying to spit a bar,
Mhm.
but I think also he old, so he's probably like, motherfucker, you promised me your treasure. I don't know how long it's gonna take you. I might die before
I
that
might
even
die before I
happens.
get to it, yep.
So how about you give me like he's like, how about you give me 1/10 of your flock, man? That's actually some real stuff.
Mhm.
Anyways, that's just my cynical brain.
Yeah.
Going back to the quote, yes, I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying.
That's
If you give everything up before you even got it, man, there's no point. There's literally
yeah.
no point.
Yeah, 'cause then what are you working towards?
You just die trying to climb that hill at that point, man.
Mhm. Mhm. Next one.
People learn early in their lives what is their reason for being, said the old man with a certain bitterness. Maybe that's why they give up on it so early, too. But that's the way it is. People learn early in their lives what is the reason for being, said the old man with a certain business. But maybe that's why they give up on it so early, too. Okay.
You want
Arch,
some
what do you,
context?
well, yeah, give us some context here.
So, this is the same conversation with the old man, and he's telling the kid about what, like, a personal legend is. And he's explaining that a lot of people actually encounter what their personal legend is or could be younger than they think in their life. It's just even if they try to attempt it, they attempt it so young in their life that eventually they're like, I've been attempting this for so long, I'm done. I just want to go do something else. And that's where they give up on what they think their personal legend is. When, you know, people then later on in life will be like, what's my purpose? What am I here for? Well, there were probably a lot of signs in your younger age that if you were more aware, you would have seen. But since you were either unaware or you were working towards it and eventually gave up, you gave up possibly your one chance at a personal legend and your own life. Um, and then you end up chasing something that isn't really your reason for being, your life's purpose, whatever it is. That's kind of what he's saying here. I
That's,
go ahead.
I was going to just say, like, it's really cool highlighting a lot of these different texts because, you know, we were speaking on it earlier that this book kind of just feels like a self help book disguised as
Mm-hmm.
a fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even in this case, like with people giving up on it so early, the old man talking with a certain tone of bitterness, and it's just him saying, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, I like all of it just because it's so very real, but at the same time, the dreams can still happen at this point,
Mm-hmm.
even for the old man. And
Mm-hmm.
although he may be set in his ways, like I feel like if you conspire to say, "Hey, I want to find a new purpose. I want to find, I mean, it may not even be the same one that I had before, but just something that makes me feel like I can tick in this life." I feel like the world will conspire to help you find that purpose, man. So I say all that just to say, like, is this book I think is really cool because there's just so much fruitfulness from it all.
Mm-hmm. Like every like, and I only highlighted like 50 things. There's probably another 50 things that I could have highlighted in the book that have its own meaning.
You just got the whole book is all highlighted.
I just highlight the entire page as I don't even read it. I just keep highlighting the entire time. Um, what I did also want to add on to this before we go on to the next one, where like bring it into our own lives, bring it, like applying it to us. Like I'm 28, about to turn 29. You're 30. Like we are still technically in the first half of our life, not even in the second half of our life. Life expectancy should be past the age of 65. So we are both still in the first half of our life. So we are still
Mm-hmm.
technically young in the grander scheme of things,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of I love love reminding myself of this. Is like a lot of people gain their success in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they still have years of what they feel like is fruitfulness, success, and purpose and purposefulness. Mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I I would really like to make sure that anybody who's listening I hope you're also like aware of and understand that like you could still find the purpose of your life at this age. But if you don't find it, you still have so many years ahead of you as long as your eyes are open and you are open to receiving the signs and messages, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to really get across to people is like even if your purpose changes, be open to it, welcome it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's a big theme in this book as well, is just being present.
Mhm.
Because had the main character not been present, none of this would have ever happened. He would none of the journey would have ever happened the way it did, because
Mhm.
you wouldn't be able to see the signs, the omens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Next one. Um, I love this one, but I think we really only need to read. Well, we can read the entire quote. I can read it. He went over to the bakery and bought a loaf of bread, thinking about whether or not he should tell the baker what the old man said about him. Sometimes it's better to leave things as they are, he thought to himself, and decided to say nothing. If he were to say anything, the baker would spend 3 days thinking about giving it all up, even though he had gotten used to the way things were. So it's essentially it's like telling somebody, I know how you're gonna die, and then just giving them information they didn't ask for. You know, it to me it reminds me of like how some people are like who say the quote unquote truth, but they're very harsh with it, and they just want to like tell you because they think they're like being helpful or whatever, and it would be better if they just didn't say anything. But they're like, I'm just saying the truth. What's the problem with that? You know?
Yeah,
But
there's like a time and place, man. There's like a it's time and place, and then sometimes you gotta see like beyond the words you're about to say, like the
hmm
effects of what it'll do.
yeah,
Like it would it actually yield this person any usefulness? Telling this
hmm
person, like if you were about to tell me, yo, you about to die, and I like was living very happily, making my experiences, uh, maybe not. Maybe don't tell me that.
yeah,
Maybe just let me just rock out until it happens.
yeah. And
So
and this boy had the awareness to like be like, if I told him this could already like the thing that you're saying, if I told him there might be all these ramifications. I would introduce a level of anxiety in his life that he doesn't need right now. He is content being a baker, having a daughter, having marrying that daughter off to somebody else, and just providing for his family by baking goods.
correct.
And there's no need to change that if he doesn't want it to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not
Mm-hmm.
you're not doing somebody a solid by telling them the quote unquote truth. You're interfering, I think, in what does need to be interfered in. And I feel like that then is selfish. It's a level of
Mm-hmm.
narcissism. I feel like. Um, The next one. Oh, I love this
Meanwhile,
one.
oh,
Oh, I love this one.
meanwhile, I want to ask you to do something," said the wise man, handing the boy a teaspoon that held 2 drops of oil. "As you wander around, carry this spoon with you without allowing the oil to spill." The boy began climbing and descending the many stairways of the palace, keeping his eyes fixed on the spoon. After 2 hours, he returned to the room where the wise man was. "Well," asked the wise man, "did you see the Persian tapestry that are hanging in my dining hall? Did you see the garden that it took the master gardener 10 years to create? Did you notice the beautiful parchment in my library?"
This is so awesome. And I don't think I quoted the last whole this is like a whole like two-page thing, and I don't know if I included the highlight of the last part of it, but essentially it's like a 2-3 part like life message. And so the boy who's fixated on not dropping the oil goes like travels the entire castle, sees nothing of his surroundings, but he kept the oil. And the wise man is saying, did you not look at your environment and surroundings and enjoy and appreciate what's around you? No, you were too focused on the oil. Boy goes back and tries to like experience things around him and focus on things around him. And then he comes back and there's no oil in the spoon because he dropped all the oil. And so the wise man says, one of the I think one of the purposes or key things in life, or one of the most important things in life, is to appreciate everything around you while making sure that the oil stays in the spoon.
Damn, that I feel like that requires a good set amount of patience on on both ends of the task to be able to observe, the surroundings around you, and then also to be able to not mess up the task at hand.
I
Once
think you can
again,
apply that.
another situation of being present. You know what I'm
hmm
saying?
I think you can apply that to anything, like you said. Like, say you have just a newborn baby, and they're waking up and they're crying and they're spitting and they're barfing and they're shitting and farting and shitting and farting and all that stuff.
God, God
Um,
damn.
And you could be really focused on the task at hand of like, how do I make it stop crying? How do I feed the baby? How do I interpret what it's saying? But you may miss the fact that like this is a beautiful creation that we made and that we're raising together, and um this is the first time this baby, like, I will never be here again. I may not never appreciate that, like, how cute this little ball of flesh is and things like that, right? Or when your baby just first like goes walking, or when your baby like when your kid asks like a very insightful question for the first time, and instead of thinking, where did you learn that, be like, that's so interesting, where did you learn that, let's talk about it, wow, my kid is having insightful thoughts, like that kind of stuff. I like to think of it like you can't just do what you're trying to, like, you can't just like try to do the task and be done.
Yeah, this one definitely touches on the cliche of it's the journey, not the destination,
Mm-hmm.
while still also like highlighting the destination too. Like, hey, don't spill it, but take your time, look around, look how beautiful my place is.
Mm-hmm.
Low key, the wise man flexing, but also teaching
He
him a
is.
lesson at the same
He
time.
is. He's
It's cool. Huh? This one's a good one.
this one's I like this one a lot. Um, the next one, I think the last one is the
Uh,
main one I wanted to show for this one.
there was also the merchant's daughter, but she wasn't as important as his flock because she didn't depend on him. When each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that can happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. Go ahead, expound on this one, Arish.
Well, I think this is just more like reiterative of the other ones that we've talked about appreciating the simple things in life. Like it goes back to the wise man uh sees simple things as extraordinary. Um and this is just going to show that like every day you wake up is a beautiful day. Appreciate every day that you wake up, because to your point, you wake up in a place with AC, with ability to put clothes on your back that are not torn, with the
Mm-hmm.
ability to, cook on a stove with electricity,
Mm-hmm.
with the ability to like have running water that isn't polluted, and don't have to boil water on your stove to use it and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And you forget that when you're just stuck in routine. But I feel like even in routine, you can make sure that you're seeing all those things, appreciate the routine of it all as well.
Yeah. No, this was a good one.
This one was a good one.
I'm waiting on a bad one, Arish.
No,
I'm
you're
waiting
good.
for you to give me a shitty one.
There's no bad quotes in this book. There's no bad quotes in this book. This one is another old man quote. Shout out old man. He says that's the way it always is, says the old man. It's called the principle of favorability. When you play cards the first time, you're almost sure to win. It's beginner's luck. And the boy asks, why is that? And the old man replies, because there is a force that wants you to realize your personal legend. It whets your appetite with the taste of success. It's like that gotcha game that gives you a 5 star on your like first ever roll without pity. And you're like, oh, I can keep rolling then, right? I can just get to pity and I'll have 2 5 stars.
Fuck Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Fuck all them
Oh,
gotcha games.
gotcha games are awful for your health. Never gonna do a gotcha game. It is really bad for your wallet.
But no, this is good though because I maybe it's not necessarily by luck, but I don't know. Like for I think people are addicted to like progress,
Mm-hmm.
or some type of measurement of success. Like
Yeah.
let's just say you go to the gym and you work out. You may not notice anything the first day. Maybe the first week, you notice you're down like 5 pounds. Makes you feel really good. It whets your appetite. It's like, oh man, I want to keep this going. And I think that's very important for chasing your personal legends as well, because if you were to chase it and there was no sense of no measurement of success or no measurement of favorability towards you, I ain't gonna hold you. That might suck.
Mhm.
That might be a very dry, tasteless, flavorless journey.
Mhm.
And if you do make it, kudos to you. But I think this right here is pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Can I give you a legit example from my life?
Sure.
So in 2022, when I first started posting on TikTok for my book talk stuff, the within the first maybe week or 2 weeks of me posting, I did like one duet, which is essentially like somebody's like videos on one side of the screen and your videos on the other side of the screen. You're like reacting to what the previous video was.
Mm-hmm.
It was also at the time that I didn't even know my microphone was turned off in TikTok. So it was some dude talking about like why isn't this book talked about enough? And it was a book that I loved back in high school. And I was just like scrolling and like reading on my bed. So the whole like shtick was like he showed that book and like get out the bed and I'm mouthing like what the fuck? Yeah. Or whatever it is, right? Like some emotive thing. Also, it was funny to me because I was like, I just thought you couldn't you put your own audio in duets. No, my mic was just turned off in TikTok. But that video got like was one of like my first ever video to blow up because I was also duetting some popular guy apparently at the time. And it got like I think five digit or six digit like views like over time. And I
God damn.
and I was like, oh, maybe this is a format that works. And I kept trying to chase that. You do that format again and again and again. It never worked again. But like that happened within my first week of doing this, and I was like, oh, maybe there's something here for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly what happened there. I hated it. I could never recreate it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's how the game
That's
works.
how that's how it works. That's how it be.
Man, pull a 5-star guy to offer it.
A one pull too, not even a 10.
Oh man.
That's the crazy part. Here's the next one for you.
The secret of happiness is to see all of the what was that marbles?
I think it's supposed to be see all the marvels in the world.
Yeah, okay, marvels in the world, and never to forget the drops of oil on this. Oh, okay, this goes
This goes
back to
back to
the
that old one. Yes.
yeah.
That's what he was in the secret of happiness
See,
is to see
see, it's
everything in.
exact. I'm glad. Okay, well, so it's exactly what I was just saying, but now it's tying in the secret of happiness, which is dope
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't tying in that theme. But the secret of happiness is to see all the marvels of the world and to never to forget the drops of oil on the spoon. Man, that's dope. I like that.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about this one too much. I think we could get into a really big rabbit hole about secret of happiness. But I've been thinking about it though. I'm actually now I'm gonna get into the rabbit hole. I've been thinking about happiness a lot. And I feel like right now, like I said earlier, I'm trying to feed into those little things that make me happy. Little things like buying a display panel for my taekwondo belts, even though I only have two belts, but I want to see them displayed and I want to keep it going, right? Um, Getting plants for the house and watering them just to see like the leaves and the flowers like just open. And I know these flowers they're gonna wilt in about a week and then we're gonna throw them away. But for the week that I have them, it makes my wife and I really happy just to see like the
Mm-hmm.
flowers open, smell the
Mm-hmm.
flowers, etc. And I want to feed into that a little bit more instead of thinking about all the big things like what am I doing with my life? Like, what do I need to find a new job? Like, um, what big trip are we going on? Like, no, no, no. Let's just sit and enjoy the little things right now. Let's go get that
Mm-hmm.
chocolate cake. We got chocolate cake last weekend because just to celebrate like passing the belt exam and things like that, right? Like
Let's go.
it's those little things.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah, to be able to experience the little things in life and also being able to focus the task at hand. It's very important to be able to do both. And sometimes I think a lot of us can get into that tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
And that tunnel vision, while yes, may be good for pacing and speed, sometimes you kind of lose out on the morale factor of it. And that morale factor may just be from stopping every once in a while and smelling the roses.
Yeah.
As figuratively as that is, maybe it's For instance, me and Delisa, we bought what's it, bird feed.
Mhm.
So it could be things like that where it's like just being able to see the birds come by every once in a while, feeding the nature, feeling like you're doing a good thing out there. They stop by, you see it. For instance, in your situation, like buying the display for the belts or buying the chocolate cake, like you could honestly probably just stuff all these belts in a drawer and don't look at
Mhm.
them. But it's a measurement of your work and being proud of it, which also in turns keeps you happy and fuels your journey, keeps you going.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's really important for the morale factor because, well, yes, sometimes you bite down, grind your teeth, and go after it, but I don't think that's manageable to do that 25/8.
Yeah.
At some
I
point.
think at some point you will grind through your teeth and then you'll have nothing else to grind.
Yep. Yeah.
Bars, both in the book and on the podcast. Let's go to the next quote.
The sale of his sheep had left him with enough money in his pouch, and the boy knew that in money there was magic. Boy, that's so true. How whoever has money is never really alone.
This is
Fuck you,
loaded.
Elon. I'm
This
just
is
kidding. I'm just
loaded.
kidding.
This is so. I wanted to talk with you about this because I thought this quote, like, if we had to pick like 10 or 15, which we kind of should have done, but I was like, let's just go for it. I would have picked this one for sure because there's so
uh,
many places to take this, right? I think we've all seen like the money to happiness quotient graph index of like at a certain threshold of salary or money, anything above that doesn't necessarily increase happiness in the same way it did like up to that number. Once you become content and satisfied, then additional money just adds to more satisfaction or contentment, but it doesn't take you from no contentment to being content, happy, or satisfied.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and so I do very much agree that in money there's happiness, and in money there's magic. Like money can move everything now. But I don't feel like whoever has money is really like whoever has money is never alone. I feel like even if you have money, you can be alone. I guess that's kind of where I think about it.
I feel like you can be alone. I feel like you have the power to change it if you want it. Now, how shallow that company is, that's up to you. But just in the context of this book, yeah, man, I think this is dope because it kind of highlights the importance of financials,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just selling you like, oh, if you hope and you believe, it's gonna come true.
Mm-hmm.
No, you might need to buckle down and save a little bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, to the book's point, he sold his sheep, the flock that he had been taking care of for years,
Mm-hmm.
shearing and growing and feeding and watering. Right, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
this man grew a business and sold it. He
Yep.
had he had his exit moment, and he was like,
Yep.
"Look at all this money I have." This
And
this, this
and,
boy is this boy's the world's first businessman right here.
and in turn, that helped him achieve his personal legend.
Mm-hmm. It did. It helped him. It helped him on the steps on the way there.
Yeah. Okay, you read this one.
I got you. When I had my sheep, I was happy, and I made those around me happy. People saw me coming and welcomed me, he thought, but now I'm sad and alone. I'm going to become bitter and distrustful of people because one person betrayed me. I'm going to hate those who have found their treasure because I never found mine. And what happens here is after he sells his sheep, he uses that money to take a boat across Spain to Turkey. Um, and he is in a town there right around like the port, and he finds somebody who speaks really good Spanish, and that guy is essentially a con guy who steals his money.
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and now he has no money, he has no sheep, he's in a new place, he's broke, no bitches, no purpose, nothing. And what I truly love about this book is the amount of times that like the boy himself is saying, this is how I'm going to be. because I let because I've had one bad experience from somebody, they're going to completely alter my reality, and I'm going to be forever changed because of this. Things that people genuinely do, like voluntarily, they choose to alter their entire reality because of one experience that they've had with one person. This boy's like, that's gonna be me. And I love seeing that played out as like aggressively as it is here.
And I'll read this part as the last sentence, and I think it's also pretty important. It says, "And I'm going to hold on to what little I have because I'm too insignificant to conquer the world." And
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily mean, and that doesn't necessarily mean like the literal world in this instance. I think he just means his world,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think that's really important to highlight because don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't don't be the bitter OG who is too too undisciplined to be able to conquer what it is or even be able to see what his personal legend is or maybe the omens ahead of him
Mm-hmm.
because you're so fixed on being bitter. You
Yeah.
know, things are bound to happen. There are probably some unfavorable events that are bound to happen, but you never know where that might lead you. There's been so many times where I've heard, like, for instance, somebody gets fired or loses a job that they thought they needed and then was gifted a better one in return because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't just end up quitting. They
Yeah.
would put themselves on the market. They kept on looking, and next you know, they get hit with something that is like, man, I prayed for this, which was essentially me for the city of Dallas. I was working park and rec, and it was only part time. And honestly, I don't even know how I was making it on part time money, but it got to a point where I was like, man, I need to get out there and
Mm-hmm.
not like sending out applications back and forth. Nothing was coming through, and just when I thought it was over, then I got hit with something else, full time, more money, benefits, all that, and I was like, oh man, this is dope. So don't feel too insignificant to to continue
Yeah.
pretty
Don't give
much.
up. You know, don't
Yeah.
don't don't give up. I had an experience with a friend where I thought we could work together on something, and we had one call. We decided to work together on something. I went and tried to work on it, and this friend of mine has still till this day ghosted me because they just haven't responded back. And I could really take that situation to be like, I'm just never going to work with anybody again. I'm just never going to do it again. Or I could just be like, that was one person, and they're not going to affect my life like that. I have enough people in my life to affect it in a positive way to where one person's negative effect is not going to ruin me. Now, did this person actually con me out of all my money and reduce my life to rubble? No.
No.
By the grace of God, no. But in a small way, I feel like you can still apply these principles.
No, I think like I think it's also important like feel your feelings, like feel
Mm-hmm.
process it, like because ultimately the only way to become not bitter is to work through the feelings and emotions you have, and then once you're ready to get back on the horse, get back on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh,
One
I love this one.
afternoon, he had seen a man at the top of the hill, complaining that it was impossible to find a decent place to get something to drink after such a climb. The boy, accustomed to recognizing omens, spoke to the merchant. Let's sell tea to the people who climb the hill.
So this one is awesome. This was the first time I understood like the tangent of like business opportunity to like just find like seeing life's purpose everywhere or like the next purpose that you're doing. So this boy, when he is in Turkey and has been conned and stuff, he comes across this glass merchant and he tells the glass merchant, "Hey, do you mind if I clean your glasses on the display case because they're dirty? If I clean them, would you feed me?" And the merchant didn't say anything. He asks again, he doesn't say anything. But the boy's like, he just takes the jacket that he had and just starts cleaning all the glass. And because he's cleaning the glass, now there's clean glass in the display case that this boy did unprompted without any promise of compensation. One or two people come in the shop and buy glass. And so the merchant says, I'll treat you to lunch or dinner or whatever it is. And he for the next like how many ever months starts working at this glass shop, cleaning the glass, cleaning the glass, cleaning the glass until he sees this. And so the glass shop is at the top of a hill. And he sees somebody, he sees an opportunity essentially. He sees, okay, there is a real person out there who has an issue that I think I could fix. And he goes to the merchant and says, there's an opportunity here. People come up this hill and are parched because they're tired. We want to sell glass. What if we serve them tea and we sell it and we serve it to them in the glass that we sell? So if they like the tea, they buy the glass. Or they come for the tea and they see the glass and they feel like, oh, this tea tastes really good in this glass. I've never had tea like this. I want to buy that glass.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
that is a quote unquote lead magnet, as they would say in business. Um, but it's really just viewing opportunity.
Yeah.
And this boy is learning how to see opportunity real time and
Mm-hmm.
act on it. The big thing is also acting on it.
Yep.
So I love this story so much. This is like one of my favorite parts of the entire book.
No, that one's good.
This one's good. Next one. I can read this one.
Sure.
He's still talking to the glass merchant here, and um, he's trying to convince the glass merchant to like sell tea. And so the glass merchant says, I've had this shop for 30 years. I know good crystal from bad and everything else there is to know about crystal. I know its dimensions and how it behaves. If we serve tea in crystal, the shop is going to expand, and then I'll have to change my way of life. And the boy says, well, isn't that good? And the merchant says, I'm already used to the way things are. Before you came, I was thinking about how much time I had wasted in the same place while my friends had moved on and either went bankrupt or did better than they had before. It made me very depressed. And now I can see that it hasn't been too bad. The shop is exactly the size that I can manage, and blah, 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 blah. So this guy was content in his life, and the boy's coming in and basically saying, I think you can do more. All this opportunity around you, and you're doing nothing with it. And the merchant's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, because if I do more with it, I have to put in more work, more shop, have to hire more people. I become a manager. I do things that I'm not accustomed to because I really just know glass, and I would rather not take the risk. And as this isn't as much of like a messaging text, but more like a just like a interesting story beat text.
Yeah. I think this one is just kind of also highlighting like don't get I mean don't get too comfortable because it's like you never know where that if you were to progress where that might land because
Mm,
even on the part he's saying now I can see it hasn't been too bad.
yeah,
He's like oh it's not that bad.
yeah,
You just never know but
mm,
until you take that chance, until you take that opportunity to grow, you don't know what it'll do.
yeah,
Maybe you don't like it. Okay, cool. Worst things worse, you go back to what you were doing.
yeah. I think people always think that like if I try to go to the next level, I can never come back down. And if I come back down, that means I failed. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you tried something and it wasn't for you. So you just go back to what you do like and what was comfortable for you and what you enjoy and let that be your happiness.
Right.
Some people like
Right.
going up the levels, some people like going up to one level and staying there. It's Tower of God. If you read that one, if you read that webtoon, best webtoon alive. Next quote. I think this is the end of the um merchant, like the glass merchant story with the boy. And
Okay.
I wanted to read this to you.
Okay.
The old man says, you have been a real blessing to me. Today I understand something I didn't see before. Every blessing ignored becomes a curse. I don't want anything else in life, but you are forcing me to look at wealth and at horizons I have never known. Now that I've seen them, and now that I see how immense my possibilities are, I'm going to feel worse than I did before you arrived, because I know the things that I should be doing to accomplish, but don't want to do so. And I think this right here is an exact replica of what we're seeing in modern day social media society, where everybody is online saying, here's how I made $1 million and you can too in 6 months. Here is how I developed wealth. Here's how I became successful. Here's how I bought my house, bought this car, got this job, lost this weight, gained this muscle, all that stuff. And so people are seeing, oh, some dude who looks like me has is now doing this. I could do it too. And it tricks you into thinking I should be doing that then if I can do it. If it's possible for me to do, why am I not doing that? And then but then you take like a week later and you're like, I'm not doing that. Man, I feel really bad because I'm not doing that. And look at all this possibility in the world that I'm not acting on.
Hmm. This is some good character development for the old man. And even despite him being old, I mean, just being able to see it for what it is,
Mhm.
he's reflecting. He's able to, like, internalize what he's seeing right before him. So this is
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. I think the glass merchant arc in this book is probably my favorite one of the
Yeah.
different arcs in the book, just because of all the stories. Ooh, I love this one. This is short and sweet.
I'll read it.
Yep.
Why a revolver? He asked. It helped me to trust in people, the Englishman answered.
I like this one because I don't exactly know what it means, and I wanted to chop it up with you. I read this and I was like, I want to chop this up with Canvas specifically. Um, So essentially, he's traveling with an Englishman on camels through the desert, heading to the Egyptian pyramids. And he sees that this Englishman has a revolver in his bag that he's relinquishing to the Oasis guards because there's no weapons allowed in the Oasis. So the boy says, "Why do you have a revolver?" And the Englishman said, "It helped me trust in people." I think what he means is by having the safety net of if this person is trying to harm me, I can shoot them. Um,
Very
it helped
Englishman
it
type of
helped
answer.
me yeah. It helped me actually try to trust them first. If it goes bad, I got a Glock in the Rari. But if it goes well, I'm trusted in somebody and it went well. And then I can trust the next person. That may go well. I can trust the next person. That may go well because I'm kept quote unquote safe in a way. I have a safety net from
Yeah.
this. That's what I think it means.
I want to say I want to say the same thing because without the revolver, it's like you don't have that safety net to act. And
You have no defense.
yeah,
I think
you
people
have
who are well defended or are capable of defending themselves are also more able to keep themselves open.
to take certain risk.
hmm It's like
Hmm.
it's like people who are emotionally mature and secure with themselves are also open up more because they're like, even if you try to hurt me emotionally, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
defended. I'm clean. Like I can work through it easily. You can't get to me. And so we can. And then if I'm open with you and we connect, that's plus for me. If I open with you and we don't connect, I can work through that.
Right. Right.
So this was really great. Really, really banger Duke double quote.
The closer one gets to realizing his personal legend, the more that personal legend becomes his true reason for being, thought the boy. Yeah. Um I think once you find that the task that you want to work towards, the more that starts to become your way of life. And just kind of like how your other friend was saying, we grow and things may shift and change, but once again, that becomes your reason for being,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, yeah. It's self-explanatory, but I like this one a lot. This is why I think Camus is his true purpose in life is to be a librarian. Next quote. Ooh, I love this one. So the Englishman was traveling the desert to find the alchemist. Because in this book, the alchemists are the ones who have seen the true nature of the world. And the Englishman's like, I want to turn like rock to gold. And the alchemists know how to do that. I've read all the books and I still can't do that. I've read all the books, but I still can't do that. That's a key part. So he says, it was my fear of failure that first kept me from attempting the master work being turning to gold. Now I'm beginning what I could have started 10 years ago. But I'm happy at least that I didn't wait 20 years. So he's saying, I read all these books, and the alchemist was like, you just need to do it, bro. Stop reading and just start doing. And so instead of looking at it like I wasted 10 years of my life, it's just more so I've woken up. I could have done this 10 years ago. And you know what they say? The best time to do something was 10 years ago. The second best time is to do it now. That's basically that. adage in this story.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, sometimes it takes that 10 years for you to grow a distaste and maybe say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, sometimes we have to actually spend time not doing the thing in order to have that desire, like fill up the cup, to be like, I
Hmm.
want to go do that thing, or in order for this not to happen, I need to go do this thing. It's either negative or positive reinforcement, either one. We need time in order for that to fill the cup. I think the
Right.
cup's not always going to be filled like day one, day one, day one. So I want to know your thoughts on this.
Okay. I want to know about the future because I'm a man. The camel driver has said to the seer, and men always live their lives based on the future. Uh, hmm. I mean, very relatable quote. And men always live their lives based on the future. It's like, I kind of look towards the future to dictate what it is I'm trying to do, or maybe what I'm trying to grind towards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, not that it's a bad thing, but I don't think I necessarily in my own personal life grind for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think about what it is that I'm trying to grind towards, because ultimately that's going to be the motivating factor. And that's what's going to keep me in the line of work that I'm doing, so that I can then be motivated to get to that point that I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So in this instance, the camera driver wants to know the future, uh, to see, probably see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the fact that he says, because I'm a man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that. I was like, and I was trying to think like, is there any difference in a how a man or a woman would operate in their life, right? Like, is there a reason why this person is saying because I'm a man and not because I'm human or I'm a person? I'm trying to think like, I thought it was because yes, like if men are traditionally been told to be the breadwinner, that means they have to foresee obstacles in the path that would harm them or their family.
Right.
I have to foresee the upcoming costs and therefore work now to then prevent or be able to, you know, be okay for those costs. I have to foresee danger and therefore train now or prepare now so that when danger inevitably comes, we are prepared for it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that could go for both men and women now at this point in time. And you can just extrapolate this to both. Like, I'm a person, so I want to know about the future because as people, we live our lives based on the future.
Right. I think this is probably a call to the times that it was written in. Um, but as men back in the day, I'm sure, or even now, uh, providers, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in order to provide, you kind of have to anticipate, and in order to anticipate, you kind of need to know what the hell it is that you're working towards.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one is cool. This one is I feel like this is the fresh eyes idea. The boy says, because my eyes are not yet accustomed to the desert, I can see things that eyes habituated to the desert might not see. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like when you're the OG teaching somebody and the YN's like, I don't think that's how like you should teach it, or that doesn't make sense to me, or like, no, that's not how it goes, you know?
Yeah.
Or we can even extrapolate that further. It's like, um, you ever like are writing like a paragraph or a book or like an essay or whatever it is, and you are like you scan it 3 times and you don't find any mistakes, and then you have someone come in who's never read it and they say this here, this here, this here, this here, bam, immediately they clock everything,
Hmm.
right? Because I think fresh unhabituated eyes to something helps you like develop a new perspective on things, catch things that other people might not catch because they're so used to what they already have seen.
Yeah, I think this you kind of would see this happen a lot in a lot of peer reviews. You get
Mm-hmm.
that saying where somebody would tell you, "Hey, man, can you look at this? I need a fresh pair of eyes to see."
Mm-hmm.
And so this is cool in the instance that I think that is highlighting that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, um, I think you can, if you are in a certain environment and that's your daily environment, I think you could still come in with a fresh pair of eyes. You just need to be, you just might need to be more intentional and take yourself maybe out of the element for a little bit in order to come back in with some fresh pair of eyes.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the last thing I was gonna say. Next one. If you pay attention to the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve upon the present, what comes later will also be better. Forget about the future and live every day according to the teachings, confident that God loves his children. Each day in it itself brings an eternity. That's like very that's like it goes from one place and ends up in another, which is fine. But I really like the first part of it, which says if you focus on the present, you can improve upon it. And if you improve the present, what comes later will also be better. It's what you said earlier about their daily habits, like the daily routine, right? You lock in your daily routine, and that in and of itself helps improve your future in
Mm-hmm.
general, in any way, form, or fashion, right?
Yeah.
So it's like let the future dictate your actions today, but really lock in those actions today to improve that future.
See, he even says it. The secret is here in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So next one. I just like this one. It's self-explanatory, but I just wanted to include it.
Isn't wine prohibited here? The boy asks. It's not what enters men's mouth that's evil, said the alchemist. It's what comes out of their mouth that is.
Bars.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
That's a bar.
And I feel like that's the whole you could say it's like one of those nature versus nurture things of like people aren't born inherently evil. It's how they're raised and how they're nurtured and the environment that they're in. I think there's some science out there that depending on the mental illness of somebody could prove contrary, but those are exceptions.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah. That this is I just like this quote because I agree. I think like, you know, how do I put this? I don't know how else to put it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been thinking about it. I don't know how else to put it actually.
It's not what enters men's mouth that's evil. It's what comes out of their mouth. Yeah. So, I mean, uh, this was kind of cool because it involves substance being alcohol. Um, I think it really has a lot to do with the individual themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, I know you probably don't drink, right?
I don't.
I drink every once in a while, and I think as some people might see that as like, oh man, that's horrible for you. And I say that I say to that, it's not, it's really about the intentions and when you bring it. And here, the alchemist is saying it's what comes out of the mouth that's evil, and I think it's what you put out after drinking the wine, of course. And if you are just innately a shitty person, or you're hiding behind a lot of shitty shit, you might say some evil shit to come out your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, dude. As you're explaining that, if I finally it finally clocked me because I think the whole concept here is like you prohibit wine because wine you're thinking like, oh, wine is the evil thing, so let's prohibit wine. And the alchemist is saying it's not the wine that's bad. It's the people who drink the wine and then do bad things that are bad. But you're blaming
Yeah,
their bad things on the wine when it's not the wine's fault.
yeah,
The wine is the wine. The wine's objective.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. You got to find the treasure so that everything you have learned along the way can make sense.
My heart's in Dallas, Texas with you.
Oh my God, the boy. Get your gay ass.
Oh my
Um,
god.
that's
I like this one, but I think it's one of those things where you would it's hard to like internalize unless you felt it. Like have you felt this thing of like, ooh, this. something that I just did hit me in the heart. That's my signal of like I should be doing this.
Yeah. Um.
Was it when you tried breaking for the first time?
Nah, I love breaking. Um, with this quote though, I feel like what sticks out to me is that wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. And yes, it goes on to say you got to find the treasure so that everything you've learned along the way can make sense. But the very first stepping stone of all of this is where your heart is. If
Mm,
you're doing something that your heart isn't in, ultimately, I feel like you're going to depreciate to the point to where you just become maybe the bitter old man.
mm,
But if your heart's in there, like you see it, you might see like someone who has a mom and pop diner, and it's kind of like a hole in the wall, but their heart is in it, and they found their treasure in like serving their local community, cooking the food of whatever they're cooking, and they learn everything that it is because their treasure is right there. So
yep.
yeah, but with breaking, man, nah, fuck breaking. No, I'm just kidding. I love breaking. It's just I'm old. It's getting hard to do certain things.
Yeah. It's okay though. You can still joke with the best of them.
Hey, come on now. Well, toes are going out too, but we'll see.
Mm, this is a
Man,
long.
this boy literally just highlighted the first
I highlighted the.
sentence and then said
I highlighted the
fuck
first
the
sentence
rest.
to remind me to come back to the page, and I just highlighted the entire page. And I'll summarize it for you guys because that's what we've been doing this entire time.
Hit that.
Okay, here's the context. The boy is at the oasis, and he has found the love of his life in a woman named Fatima. And he has a decision. He can either stay at the oasis and try and build a life with Fatima because he has found the love of his life, or he can leave with the alchemist to go to and travel, continue to the Egyptian pyramids. And the boy says, "What would happen if I just like why don't I just stay here?" And then the alchemist tells him, "Here's exactly what will happen. You'll marry her. You'll be happy for a year. You'll learn to love the desert, and you'll understand the like you'll basically learn your entire environment and just be a part of this oasis. And the second year, then you'll remember the treasure again that you stepped away from. The omens will be consistently uh, speaking to you. You'll see those recurring dreams again. Um, and yes, in that second year, maybe you amass a little bit more wealth, you amass a bigger network, etc. The third year, the omens will come again, and they won't give up. And at some point, you will start to like pace around, thinking, do I need to go back out there? Did I lose my chance at my personal legend? This personal legend is still haunting me. Your wife will think that it was her fault because she forced you to stay. So then she'll be unhappy. And you'll keep thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. But eventually, because you never acted on it previously, and now you're already maybe locked in to this life that you've built for yourself, you can't act on it now because you have a wife and kids and a society and things like that. And at that point, then all the dreams and all the omens and all the signs will forever be silented because you buried them. And so the alchemist was essentially saying, this is exactly what's going to happen. So now, if you're okay with that, stay here. If you're not okay with that, come with me.
Yeah, he pretty much just lays it all right then, right there.
And
I think even Fatima said herself that like she didn't want to be that to him. I think she was saying, "I need you to go
she
chase."
said, she said, I'm a woman of the desert and I'm a woman of this oasis. The other women in this oasis are very much accustomed to their men going away and then coming back. And
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. Go go find your personal legend because I believe you'll come back.
yeah,
But you need to go. And he's like, I don't want to go. I love you. And she's like, go.
yeah. She doesn't want to prevent it. She
Right.
actually, she does what we call true love and
True love.
supports.
Yep.
Yeah, it supports his purpose.
So I liked this because it does it basically like lays out the idea of, do I take the safe path or the one that's a little bit riskier with that might have more strife, but is towards where I want to go, versus the safe path is the way that I want to go, is not in the way that I want to go. It's to a new path, but the new
Yeah.
path is comfort,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I liked that one a lot. Ooh, oh my God, I love this one. Sorry, I love a lot of these.
Go ahead.
So the boy watched as his companion went to his horse and withdrew a scimitar. With its blade, he drew a circle in the sand, and then he placed the snake within it. The serpent relaxed immediately. Not to worry, the alchemist says. He won't leave the circle. You found life in the desert, the omen that I needed. The last sentence doesn't matter. It's this whole idea of drawing a line around a snake. So I don't know if you've ever seen these experiments that people do where they'll put like an insect or a bug or an animal in like literally like they'll just like either pour like a ring of salt around them or just like draw a white line and chalk around them, and they won't move because the animal perceives that to be a boundary past which they can never be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I read this is like, okay, the snake was in this guy's hand and it was writhing and it was crazy or whatever it is. It was in this weird chaotic environment. He draws a circle, puts the snake in the circle. The snake sees, okay, cool. I see my boundaries. I see everything in my environment. I all I have to do is stay in this circle and I'm fine. And so he relaxes immediately. He doesn't know that the circle is fake. He doesn't know that the circle was drawn by someone else. He doesn't know that he can get past the circle. So he is just comfortable being inside the circle. And he says, "Don't worry, he won't leave the circle because he knows I drew the boundary and I gave it a boundary and I gave it kind of comfort in a way. I gave it its own enclosed environment. I gave it its own bubble, and it's content to be there. And I feel like that's like a it's like a weird simile metaphor to some of our lives where we
I was
think we
just
are
about to
like
say that.
in this circle because we don't know that we can rub the chalk away and keep going out. Because as soon as in those experiments, as soon as the actual like scientists will like erase the chalk or like move
Mm-hmm.
the salt out and just draw one door from the inside to the outside of the circle, then those animals come through the door. But they will never touch the white line, the white salt line, or the white chalk line. They'll only
Mm-hmm.
touch the sections that are opened for them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so that's a really heavy metaphor for our, like life, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes I've had to deal with people or things and have them act like a wild ass snake for me to be able to draw a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's bar. That's deep.
That's
That's
deep.
deep right there.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I'm so glad I screenshot all these things. I'm so glad that we're doing this, guys. I don't know how many people are going to listen into the 1 hour and 41st minute of it, but whoever does, just know we appreciate you.
How many are we in?
Let me see. 32 out of 38.
Oh wow. Okay. Shit.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there, guys. This one's also really, really crazy. And 50,000 people, 50,117 people highlighted this.
Yeah, man. This one's good. I'll read this one. Most people see the world as a threatening place, and because they do, the world turns out indeed to be a threatening place. I like this one because it's like it's perspective, man. What you subscribe to inevitably ends up being what it is for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very important to subscribe to things that are uplifting and I think beneficial to what it is that you need to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you constantly see the world as this fear mongering, threatening place, and that you gotta hide because of it, the world will turn out to be exactly just that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's not neither productive or beneficial to you at all.
Yeah. I think like this just goes back to like racism, xenophobia, all these like ideologies that people have in life, like because they just that's how they see the world. So that's what they believe. Like what you
Right.
see is what you believe. There's people who like capitalism, people who hate capitalism, people like socialism, people hate socialism because they see one thing as this has threatened my life, and therefore I don't like it, and therefore anything that has to do with it is also a threat to my life, even if like it has nothing to do with your life, but it is. You think it's threatening. That's kind of like where I drew the parallel. But I
Yeah.
really liked this. It did put into perspective of like, yeah, your the reality you choose to see becomes the reality that you inevitably will always see.
Yeah.
So this is one that you were like getting to way earlier in the podcast, where the alchemist says, "There's only one way to learn. It is through action. Everything you need to know, everything you need to know you have learned through your journey. You need to learn only one thing more, and that's whatever it is." It's the first line that's actually crazy though. Is it the only way to learn is through action?
There used to be this thing uh in dance where like I was talking with a bunch of people. I always talk like dance theories and stuff. And I essentially fixated on this just two words, and it was just to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that carried me for a lot because just the ability just to just do it, and everything else will kind of fall in place. Do the work, do the grind, do the mental process, whatever, but just to do it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I heavily resonate with this because everything that you need to know you have learned through your journey, but you can
Mm-hmm.
only learn it if you do it.
Yeah,
You
if you
got it.
go through the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I there's a lot of people online who will like read history books and read philosophy and try and distill it for somebody in an easier way, or recount the history and keep the history alive. But I genuinely feel like a lot of the times we just like to sit and listen, and we like to like, what's it called, like history porn, motivational porn, like self masturbation, in a way of like,
Yeah.
I just want to listen to all the nice things and the philosophy of life, but I don't really execute those philosophies in my life. I don't really live by those. I don't really try to live by those.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about, you know, um, get up, wake up in the morning, go for a walk, start your day well, eat right, etc. But do I actually do it? No. Therefore, I can't really learn the benefits of that.
Yeah.
I'll read all these books on business, but I will, if I don't start my own business, I'm never going to really know and learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, love that one. Love that one. This one is interesting. He says, to show you one of life's simple lessons, when you possess great treasures within you and try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed. This one I highlighted because it really reminded me of like the Musks, the Bezos, the Gates, the Apple guy. What the fuck is his name? Whoever was the CEO of Apple, like
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, the Jobs of like all these guys who were eccentric in a way and really had like a really crazy idea that they wanted to do. And there were probably people in their lives who were like, I don't, why, that doesn't make, that's not real, that, oh, it's not going to be as cool as you say, or as big as you say, or as crazy as you say. And those are the movers and the shakers, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's where the like those types of treasures also.
I mean, I just relate to this one because there's been hella folks in it, in my upbringing, in the scene that I came from, and just try to shit on you, just to shit on you.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that
Uh,
too.
and I think this is important because you have to realize yourself that you possess great treasure,
Mm,
and sometimes you may not even really need to tell nobody. Sometimes you just know that you are what you are worth,
mm-hmm.
and it's important to understand your worth and believe in that. And then when you blow up like all the people you just mentioned, it'll show. Then
Yeah,
then they'll believe, and
yeah,
then they'll see.
they'll be like, oh, we knew all along. No, like, no, you didn't. You're the one who
Should
said
have
no.
known he was like a fucking genius to begin with this
I
whole
know, right?
time.
Like he just should have just he should have known. It's like, yeah. Sorry, guys, we're doing a little tutting break because we've been sitting here for an hour and 50 minutes. We're almost there though. This one's cool. This one's cool. Read the highlighted part for me.
I got you. And then there were the others who were interested only in gold. They never found the secret. They forgot that lead, copper, and iron have their own personal legends to fulfill. And anyone who interferes with the personal legends of another thing never will discover his own.
So This is the Alchemist talking about the different types of people who have gone on to understand the way of the world, become alchemists themselves, things like that, right? And he starts off by saying, I've known true alchemists. They locked themselves in the laboratories, tried to evolve as gold had, and they found the philosopher's stone, which is the item that turns um, crude things into gold. All the others stumbled upon the stone by accident. They already had the gift, and their souls were readier for such things than the souls of others, but they don't count. They're quite rare. Those are the exceptions. And then there were others who were interested only in the gold. So the way I think about it is, there's people. I I I think my brain has just been very business coded, so I apologize, guys, if everything is like a business metaphor. But there's people who build a business, who truly like solve a problem, and they end up getting their money, getting their bag. There are people who stumble into by accident some venture that turned out really well for them, and then they get their bag. Maybe they just had an innate talent. The people who are like innately talented at sports, or the innately talented at theater or art or acting or whatever it is, right? They didn't maybe put in as much aggressive work to get there as the first people, but they still worked and they got there. And then there's the last set of people who only care about the money. And people who only care about the money will try and try and try and get to the money. They'll never get to the money because they don't understand that money is a product of something else. Gold is a product of lead, copper, and iron in this
Mm-hmm.
situation, right? But they just want the gold, but they don't know how to get to the gold because they haven't looked at the lead, copper, and iron and tried to discover what that has to offer. They haven't tried to build the business. They haven't tried to go and put themselves out in the art academy and dance and sing and become a videographer or photographer or a DJ or whatever it is, right? They haven't done the thing to get what they want. It's like, no, I just want the thing. Can I just have the gold, please? And it's like, no, gold is a byproduct of what you are doing.
Yeah. Someone kind of just tells me like it's important to kind of recognize everything in their purpose, and that if you so uh kind of is adjacent to like the whole oil situation,
Mm,
like where he was just focused on the oil, didn't even see the tapestries or anything
mm-hmm,
else, and because of that tunnel vision never got to really experience anything. And in this case, because of the tunnel vision, you won't really experience and discover
mm-hmm.
your own
Yeah,
personal legend. So
yeah.
yeah, this one's cool.
I like this one. Top 5 quotes of the book, Canvas.
Okay.
This one hit me deep.
Okay. But
He
this
said,
payment
"You go
goes
ahead."
well. I got you. But this payment goes well beyond my generosity, the monk responded. Don't say that again. Life might be listening and give you less the next time. Go ahead, give
This
the context.
this one really, so essentially the alchemist and the boy are at a monastery before they head out to the pyramids, and the alchemist, because he knows how to turn things into gold, has um 4 parts of gold with him. 1 part of gold he gives to the monk. And the monk says, "This payment goes well beyond my generosity. I just gave you guys housing. I don't deserve a part of this gold thing that you created." And the alchemist says, "Don't say that. Life might be listening. It might give you less next time." It's basically saying, do not diminish your worth. When good things come to you, accept them for what they are. Don't play this humble bragging game, or like trying this humility game.
Yeah.
Understand that like
Yeah.
your worth is different at different times. If something great comes towards you, accept it. Do not try and diminish it, because next time something less might come towards you when something great could have come again.
Yeah, I think I've done that to myself way too many
Same,
times,
same.
and maybe it's just the way I was raised, maybe it's the way I grew up, but ultimately, I don't think it. I sometimes it served me, but the only times that it did, it was that the other side of it, or the other party, or the other person had to be cognizant to see how well or how much I was diminishing myself, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Bro, like just like in this instance, the guy says, "Don't say that shit again." And
Yeah,
sometimes it took a while for someone to say that to me, because oftentimes what I've been given was someone just taking advantage of the situation.
yeah. You
And
know,
so,
I
yeah,
I don't like friends and family discounts from friends,
that's yeah,
because I'm like, no, I want to give you your full value's worth. Don't discount me. I'm trying to support you.
yeah,
That's kind of how I think about it in the smallest scale.
yep.
Next one. there's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve. It's it's the fear of failure. And the boy says, I'm not afraid of failing. It's just I don't know how to turn myself into the wind. So it's not like I'm afraid of failing. I don't know what to do. And the alchemist tells him, well, you have to learn. Your life depends on it. Um, but really, it is just the idea of like the fear of failure paralyzes people from even starting. And if you never start, you'll never walk the journey. If you never walk the journey, you'll never achieve your dream because you were
Yeah.
just too afraid to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So self-explanatory, but it's always a good reminder to people. Don't be afraid. Just do it. You'll fall flat on your face. Just accept it. You know?
Falling flat is just what's required. Like the previous quote was saying something, or maybe it was the one before, I don't know, but it said that some people are very special and unique, and it just kind of falls into place for them.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are we're probably not those people.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we're the common, the masses, and that being said, you have to put in the work, and you just got to fall flat.
Mm-hmm.
You won't get anywhere if you don't fail. Like it took me a long time to, and I still have it ingrained in me somewhere, but I you have to kind of remove the feeling of failure and just be okay with the results, no matter what happens. You
Yep.
know, there's more focus on the process, if anything.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's always going to be an uphill battle, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's just important to do it.
Yep.
It's just important to do it.
Everything that happens once can never happen. Wait, hold on, wait. Everything that happens once can never happen again, but everything that happens twice will surely happen a third time.
It's one of the proverbs they reference in this book, but it's very interesting. Um, you can chalk something up to chance once, but if it happens twice, it could happen a third time. So be prepared for it. It's just one of those like preparation type proverbs that I think is just it's nice to know.
I got a stimulus check one time. Just waiting for a second
Mm,
time, and
And
it
it's
made me
never gonna
hopeful.
happen again. Never gonna happen again.
But no, yeah, this was cool. At first, I thought it was saying that if it happens once, it'll never happen. But I just see the word can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I thought the
I was
exact
about to
same
say, what
thing.
the fuck?
I thought the exact same thing when I first read that, and I was like, well, I think it's saying something else. But
Yeah.
guys, that was 40, 38, 40 lessons from The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Essentially, just a fictional self help, man. Read that shit, get yourself back on the journey, achieve your personal lesson or legends, find it, do it.
And then when you do it, come back and tell us about it
Yeah, I
because
was
I want
about
to
to
hear
say.
about it. I want to hear about it. I actually
Especially,
really enjoyed this book. It might be worth a reread in the future once I forget what it is, or I just come back and listen to the podcast episode.
I was surprised you never read it, to
I
be
think
honest.
I honestly think it was one of those things where it was like, oh, I get the message of it. Why do I have to
I'm
read
a
it?
hipster. I don't have to do. I'm just kidding.
No, that is quite literally like my philosophy on reading. Like I won't read popular books
I get
because
it.
I'm
Yeah, I get that.
like I've never read Atomic Habits. I've never read the 48 Laws of Power. I've never read all these like money like Morgan Housel's like the Psychology of Money or whatever it is because it's like I don't have to read those books to get those ideas. If I already know those ideas, I just read books that I want to read that give me new or different ideas or that are fantasy books and are entertaining. So
Yeah,
for The Alchemist, I was like, okay, cool. It's just a book about the purpose of life and how the purpose of your life leads you back to, you know, your treasure being where you started. But
yeah,
now you have this breadth of experience and action behind you that leads you to being a wiser and more informed and more mature person.
yeah,
Um, and I was like, okay, cool, I get that. Why do I have to read it? No, I think it's for all these other little things inside the book that we talked about, besides the
yeah,
overarching story of the book.
yeah. The book is itself is incredibly simple, but it's one of those things that's so simple it works amazingly well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so nutrient rich with how simple it is. It's just kind of those things once again, you just got to go through the journey and not the destination.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Canvas, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho together.
of
Um,
course.
we are about to let you go, but before we let you go, we do this every time anybody comes in the podcast. We ask them a question. And last time you came on the podcast, I had asked you, "What's your one advice?" And now and I think this is your third or fourth time on the podcast, and so we're just going to give you the second question in the rotation. And the second question for you is, who do you see when you look in the mirror?
Um, I think just to make this nice and pretty, I tie it up with the book. I kind of just see myself also going through my personal legend,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in pursuit of it. I can't say that I found it just yet. I know what it is, but I'm just on the journey and I just don't know every answer yet. But I do know the importance of just doing and showing up. So, in all the responsibilities that I am tasked with, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I see somebody who's showing up and I see somebody who is curious and somebody who is wanting more for themselves.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Canvas, thank you so much for joining us. Will you please do me the honors and outro this entire thing?
Okay. All right, everybody. This is the end of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to. This is the intro arch. Is this the
The
wait?
End
No,
Goal
huh?
podcast.
The end goal pod. I keep fucking it up. Subscribe to the end goal podcast. Make sure you comment your thoughts down below. Samurai slice that like button. We're on all platforms, right?
Yep.
Every
Yep.
platform. So there's no excuse. I already know y'all got brain rot. So do yourself a favor and release your brain rot by listening to this and all the other podcasts this motherfucker got. It's beautiful. It's hard work. This man chasing his personal legend, involving myself too. So yes, that's it. Enjoy and have a great day, motherfucker.
Amazing. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.